Good to see you, awesome learners! Welcome to HASED Education here in the Philippines. Again, I will be your instructor for today. I am your teacher, Hani, and for today, we will discuss about the amazing laws of influence. First, what is rule of law? When children grow up, understanding the difference between rules and laws and keep them as a citizen of a sovereign nation, they have the rights to be protected by the law that they abide in and have their safety ensured under the protection of the law. Why do we need rules and laws? As we promised, to keep the rules at home, in our classroom, and in our school, our community has a lot of rules or set of laws. Students have rules to be followed to keep the community happy and safe in classrooms and schools. You must follow the rules of classroom and at home. Also, all sports have rules. Example, traffic laws help people or let's say children travel safely on the streets. Without traffic laws, many people might be get hurt in an accident. You have to obey traffic signals as well. The law protects people's rights and freedom so they can live comfortably and happy and maintain a social order. Individuals must knowledgeable that laws are necessary to regulate the society or the community. Now, let's discuss about the difference between rules and the laws. When we say rules in general, it is a standard of behavior that must be followed in certain environment or let's say situation. However, a law is a legal rule that applies to all members of a society at all times. Rules are more flexible and carry low consequences. You can set up rules for games or let's say make rules for the home, school, or workplace. Rules are personal in nature and they are often changed as the conditions and circumstances change. Let's say for example, if you play unfairly against the other team in a soccer game, you can receive up to 2 yellow cards or red cards, which means you can kick out of the game. When we say laws, these are the laws that created by the government and enforced by police and court system. They are voted on, and if a citizen breaks a certain law or let's say violates a system of solution and punishment is in a place to deal with the offender. In our lesson 2, today's law, a democracy is a kind of government where people have all the power. It is different from other government with kings or queens or rulers in which one person has all the power. Did you know that in ancient times, the king's words were the law? Even if the law was unfair, the people has to follow it or let's say must be follow it without any hesitations or any questions. Now, when we say of the people, the government is made up by the citizens. When we say by the law, the power of the government rests in the hands of the citizens. Each citizen votes on important decisions and elect a representative to help run the government. And lastly, when we say for the people, the government is made to protect the people. Fair laws are passed to make the country a better place to live in. Now, let's talk about all the Constitution. A constitution is the highest or most important book of laws. All other laws are from it. The government, others laws are not allowed to disagree with its constitution. We have the rights of the people. When we say the rights of the people, it is the American Constitution's list some key rights called the Bill of Rights. The main purpose of it is to stop the government telling the people what to do. And of course, they guarantee rights such as freedom of speech, religion of freedom, freedom of press, and trial by jury for all American citizens. Since we have the right of the people, we have what we call the duties of the people. All citizens have responsibilities. Responsible citizens demonstrate basic democratic values, good moral behavior, and take responsibility for their own action. A responsible citizen is a person who obeys the laws, contributes to the community, and also, the most important, pays taxes. A responsible citizen also goes to school prepared to learn and recycle to help the environment. With all this information, we have the separation of power. The power of government, a separation of power, was made to prevent one branch from becoming too powerful and violating the human rights. Ideas must pass through a lot of process in order to become a law. A law starts off as a bill and must go through a series of checks and votes to become a law. Now, we have three branches of the government. The first one is legislative. The second one is the executive. And the third one is the judicial powers. These three have different responsibilities. The three branches of the government are all equal, with no one branch being more important than the other branch. To make laws, all three branches have to agree. Of course, the power needs to be balanced. To simplify, the legislative is to make the law. The executive carries out laws, and lastly, the judicial judges the laws. In our lesson 3, we have laws and good citizens. Now, what is this? Rich and poor, handsome and ugly are all equal according to the law. If we understand the law, we can protect ourselves and grow up as a good citizen in our country or in our own community. Laws apply equal to everyone, including those who makes them. Laws are the same for all the people. They are blind to money, power, skin color, or let's say religion. A judge decision must be fair and based on facts and the law. Judges don't bend the rules for anyone. They stick to the rules like the blind lady justice without taking any sides. Human rights lawyer help poor or disabled people who cannot afford to pay lawyers to defend themselves in a courtroom or in a law cases. As you can see here, this is the statue of Lady Justice. The blindfold symbolizes that justice is fair and not confused by any appearance. The second one, scales, symbolizes that the law should be equal to all the people. And lastly, the sword symbolizes the power of justice because of the law. In a criminal case starts when someone is suspected of doing a crime and undergoes a trial to determine whether he or she is innocent or guilty. The Constitution states that everyone has the rights to a fair trial. Lastly, Miranda rights is a warning given by the police to a criminal suspect in custody. It reminds people that they do not have to say anything to the police if they do not want to. First one is arrest. It is the action of seizing someone to take them into custody by authority of the law. Second one is the initial hearing. The first time a defendant comes before the judge to hear his rights and charges against him. The third one is a trial. A trial is a formal meeting in a law court at which a judge and a jury listen to the evidence of a case. Verdict. It is a declaration of punishment decided for an offender. Second to the last is sentencing. If a verdict is a decision made by a jury, a sentence is a declaration of punishment to the suspect. Of course, the suspects have the rights to appeal. Appeal is a request to take the case to the higher court for a review of decisions. Now, we will discuss who are the people in the courtroom. People have different roles in the judicial process. Each person is involved in a court system determine if a defendant is guilty of a crime. The criminal justice is responsible for punishing those who violate the law and bringing the justice to people. First, the judge. A judge is a person who has the power to make decisions on cases brought before a court of law. Now, we have what we call our court clerk, a person who is responsible for keeping records in the court. The third one is the defendant. A person in a law case is accused of having done something illegal or violating the laws. Next one is defense attorney. A person who tries to prove in a court that a defendant is not guilty into a crime. Victim is a person who is harmed or killed as a result of a crime or an incident. Witness is a person who sees an event happening, especially a crime or an accident. Prosecutors are a person who tries to prove in a court that a defendant is guilty. Lastly, we have a jury. It is a group of normal people chosen to hear and decide a case in a court of the law. We will discuss about the child protection law. Child protection law, every child has the rights to be protected from any harm. It is up to us to ensure that this is a reality regardless of whether at home, in school, or in any places in our community or society. This law protects children from violence, neglect, or hunger that causes harm to their mental health. Parents are not allowed to force their children to beg or to do dangerous things for a money. They must not leave their children alone inside the car. We also have youth protection laws. These laws protect youths from harmful media and harmful businesses such as bars. They also protect youths from bad environments such as violence and abuse that hurt young minds and bodies. The legal age to marry, vote, or drive differs from any country, ranging from 16 to 19 years old. We have school violence. It is the act of hitting or taking money from other children or students is a crime called bullying. The victims of school violence experience huge mental suffering. The bigger problem is that bullies are more likely to continue these violence acts even when they become an adult. Even if you break the law without thinking or knowing about the consequences, you may still receive a heavy fine or go to jail. First, prank call. If you make a prank phone call to a police station or a fire station, you can be punished because it wastes police time or fire station. When we say cyber violence, it is the act of spamming, swearing on the internet, and writing hurtful comments. Is all criminal kind of behavior. You should not commit a crime just because your identity is not revealed online. Lastly, we have copyright violation. Authors, artists, and singers work hard to create a kind of art. Downloading and uploading movies, novels, pictures, or music without permission is a crime also. Lastly, we must be a good citizens. If we want to live in a safe and healthy environment, or let's say country, by obeying simple rules, we can become a responsible citizens and create a happy society. To end our lesson, every law ensures responsibility. There are many ways you can be a responsible citizen. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening and have a great day, kids!